This is Richard Fowler. I'm John Kilpatrick with Oklahoma Aikido, Louisville, Kentucky, USA. And this is our third video with Nikkyo, and this one's on striking. And on the first videos, I have, you probably think, well, I'm not doing Nikkyo at all, and you may be right. So let's think about what Nikkyo is used for. And Nikkyo is normally used against somebody grabbing you. So, and when you're practicing Nikkyo in class, a standard way of practicing is he grabs my wrist and I come here, and now I'm trying to learn how to inflict a lot of pain here and make him drop to the ground, not because I'm breaking his structure or anything, but just because he's afraid of getting his wrist broken. Now, most Aikido is done with wrist grabs, and so I watch a lot of Aikido videos, and it's almost always somebody grabbing at your wrist, maybe sometimes grabbing at your lapel, and you're doing something to throw them. That doesn't excite me. I don't stay up late at night worrying about somebody coming up and grabbing my wrist. I think where people come up and grab your wrist is one of two situations typically. It's either a big guy that's really going to dominate some little person by grabbing their wrist and them not being able to move. And of course, one of the things that you practice in Aikido is, I had instructors, and their big thing is they come and they grab your wrist, and then you're supposed to try to get away, and you get good at making it hard for somebody to move, and so they can't get away. I mean, there's a place for that, but it's not what I worry about. And so most of our Aikido is practicing with somebody attacking us with a weapon. And usually that's a knife. It can just be somebody punching, like you would get if somebody tries to sucker punch you or something. We love Joe's in the summer when this place isn't air conditioned, so in the summer we practice outside and practice with Joe's a lot. So I don't worry much about wrist grabs, but a more interesting thing for wrist grabs to me is to do the wrist grab, do the Nikkyo as a structure break rather than trying to break his wrist. And this is more what I see from many Aikido instructors and people who I really admire that practice Aikido. So in this kind of, no knife yet. So in this kind of thing, he'd come grab here, and I'll take this, and get the structure break there. And even without Nikkyo, without doing it as Nikkyo, let's do it on this side, this hand. He grabs my wrist here, and I just come here, break the structure, and throw it. So that's what I like to see. I don't really care. I think that's a proper use of Nikkyo if you get excited about people grabbing your wrist. Now this video is supposedly about striking, and so if the way we use Nikkyo mostly in class is that he has a knife, and he's going to attack me with the knife, and I hit. And so we've got two strikes there. When I'm leading with this hand, I lead this, I hit him in the neck here. This should knock him out. Some people, some very famous people do this. They strike him into the throat here. I don't practice it that way for two reasons. One is, if I kill somebody, and I think that would kill somebody, I'm in a lot of trouble. It's much better if I hit him here, this should knock him out, but it shouldn't seriously injure him. And the other, of course, you know, the part with the knife would be a serious injury. And so with this, and I've taught this elsewhere, so I'm not going to teach it here, but you do the structure break here, and then you're where you can do Shominsky with the knife if you need to. So that is basic, that's the way we normally use Nikkyo. As a knife-taking technique where my hand ends up underneath his arm and I can do that kind of throw. Now, I think what Nikkyo is really good for, and we're such nice, sweet people, we don't normally practice this way in Aikido. But for me, what Nikkyo is really for is I have a weapon and I'm attacking him, he grabs my wrist and then he punches at me with this hand. And so this is where I have a problem. And so what we're going to do, go back. So I go to attack here, and there's my Nikkyo. So so if he grabbed, my Nikkyo was me turning over this way and applying a wrist lock. But if he's trying to hit me, you know, and I've got a knife, he's not going to care whether he gets his wrist broken or not. He likes that a lot better than getting stabbed. He's going to come after me anyway. So what I'm doing, if you go slow, he grabs, I'm pivoting around his grab so that I don't like for people to grab me. And I'm stabbing him with the knife. So Nikkyo is for offense to me. It's not really for defense. Another way that you see Nikkyo practiced is if I have a bokken, or really this would be a sword, and he's a peasant and he grabs my wrist here to hold this so that I can't draw the sword. And so what I do is I step back so that I can draw the sword, I catch the Nikkyo, and then I cut his head off. And this kind of defense is what your forward rolls are for. So if I come here, I draw this, I cut down here. Now as I cut, he takes a forward roll, dive, dive, dive. No, yeah, go back. To get away from the sword so he doesn't get cut. So that's another way that Nikkyo is used, but I'm the offender. You know, I'm here, I'm about to kill him, and he grabs my wrist to try to keep me from killing him. We do Nikkyos with a jo. So he comes and grabs the jo, and so I do Nikkyo, I come here and project him forward with the jo. And now that's the way we normally practice it. We let him grab the jo, but that's not what it really is. What it really is he reaches for the jo and I come up and stab him. And I use this I use the Nikkyo movement to keep him from getting the jo. So I think the real practical application of Nikkyo is where I'm attacking somebody with a weapon, probably, and he's using Nikkyo to try to keep me from stabbing him with the weapon. So usually the guy doing the Nikkyo is the guy doing the striking. But when we use a Nikkyo, when we do anything defensively, almost anything, I want to be striking. You know, somebody said, and I like this a lot, they said you shock before you lock. The way one of my Japanese Aikido instructors said, first hurt. And both of them are saying that before you try to do wrist locks, you hit the guy.